national TV crossing over, and Cosby, you know, he influenced Richard Pryor. People don't understand that. Richard Pryor wanted to be like Bill Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So Cosby was a pioneer for decades, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And with Cosby Show, Different World, he changed the landscape of Black people going to college. The college matriculation increased when Different World came on. Everybody wanted to go to historical Black colleges. People wanted to get into education. He was literally influencing Black people and their education, their awareness of how to conduct themselves. And so then you had all this, and then you had the rape shit, you know. And then we battle whether it's between society not wanting a Black man to have power or, you know, taking the person down for committing crimes. It was a battle between, because every time a brother gets into power, there's always some scandal that happens sometimes. You know what I mean? You look at Michael Jackson, like, look at what they did to him. And I don't believe any of the shit that Michael did, ever. I know he didn't touch no kids. I know that. I know he didn't touch no children. Bullshit. He has had a lot of juice. Michael, you know, owned half of Sony. He owned the Beatles category, all that. And he was an influence all over the world. And he was calling people out.
Fact.
So that's just my opinion. That's just how I feel. You know, people can dispute it. I don't really give a shit. This is just how I feel. You know what I mean? You know, people be like, yo, man, you know, in the comments, man, that motherfucker don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. It's my opinion. It's an opinion.
Right. Yeah, speaking of opinion, let's talk about T.I. too, because not to put him on the same level as Bill Cosby at all, but last year around this time, he was accused of all these different things, different women and stuff came out, but that kind of seemed like it's died down since then. I think one of the cases, I think in Las Vegas or Los Angeles, was actually dropped. What do you think about T.I. and like a lot of Black men that we see this happening to, particularly around sexual things that happen to them?
Like with T.I., I actually interviewed T.I. Me and Lord Jamar actually interviewed T.I. And I was always a fan of T.I. I always respected his music. You know, I respected what he stood for, you know. I mean, nobody's perfect, first off. And the whole sexual allegations thing, I was like, what the hell? Because I noticed that this started coming around when T.I., you know, noticed T.I. started getting really pro-Black and really trying to buy real estate in Atlanta. He says, instead of moving away from our neighborhoods, we need to start buying our own properties. We need to start flipping our own stuff. He started to get into real estate and philosophy. You know, he really started talking that Black empowerment shit with Killer Mike. You know what I mean? And once he started doing that, all of a sudden, this shit came out. I was like, word, really? Are we doing that right now? And like I said, he could have done it. He could have not done it. But I wasn't around that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But he got free because him and his wife were very confident that they didn't do that shit. And I think T.I. was like, oh, they trying to cut me under my legs while I'm doing some Black empowerment shit. You feel me? And I'm not saying it, I don't know if it happened or not, you know, but I always noticed that the timing is always when we start to really change our mentality, trying to get our shit together. All of a sudden that seems to jump out. Why did they call that out when T.I. wasn't talking about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did they do that? But, you know, this is a guy who literally takes care of his children, who's around his kids. All his kids know him. You know what I'm saying? They got 6 kids. He's on his children. He's, you know, regardless of how you think he's raising them, he's there for them. You know what I mean? And he raises his kids, no matter what you think about their relationship, doesn't matter. Everybody has fucked up relationships. You know? I just think it's just ironic that every time, like let's go with the Nipsey Hussle shit. Let's go with the Nipsey Hussle shit. Nipsey Hussle was literally bringing the Crips and the Bloods together. Like, they were like, yo, man, let's cut this shit out, man. Let's start like building our shit. Let's start, you know, he was buying properties, putting people to work, and all of a sudden that shit happened. I'm like, there's a pattern, bro. There's a pattern. Is all I'm saying. I don't know. I'm not on the inside, but I just noticed like, wow, every time we get some, you know, we start to empower ourselves, or our thinking starts to change, and you know, for the better, some shit goes down.
Let's talk about that. Let's take that deeper and bring it into hip hop, because we've seen a lot of violence ensuing within hip hop and a lot of deaths within hip hop. Just recently, we lost Young Dolph, somebody who was very influential in the Memphis community. We just lost Draco the Ruler to violence out of the festival. We lost Slim 400 last week due to gun violence. The list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And you said, you just mentioned there being a deeper objective, maybe not in each case that I just mentioned, but you talk about what they promote within the industry and what they highlight within the industry and the ramifications behind that. Is there something deeper to violence in hip hop, and what's your opinion on it?
You know, violence in hip hop has always been around. Like, let's not get it twisted. Yeah. It's always been around. I'm from the 80s and 90s eras of hip hop. I grew up like when hip hop was still kind of young. So it's always been around because we had songs. KRS-One had a song called Stop the Violence. You know, Real Bad Boys Move in Silence. Stop the violence. KRS-One was talking about that shit in the 80s. The Message with Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, they were talking about that. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to. It was about that. It was drugs and white lines. I mean, so all of that violence and drugs and all has always been around hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, NWA, same thing. Tupac. It's just, I don't know what is going on with these cats. Like it's been a little bit more frequent.
Yeah.
That's, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's not like a gap. It's like every week somebody's dying. So I'm like, and plus I have to, I don't even know half these dudes. I'm like, who's that? Yeah. You know, because I'm not really checking for it, because I think that music is kind of lame. A lot of hip hop is a little whack to me. So I've been kind of like I don't really have my ears to the streets on some of this music because I'm not really feeling a lot of this shit. You know what I'm saying? But as far as a black man's life, I care about that. You know what I'm saying? Just brothers killing each other. But my thing is this, you always got to look deeper. Like, who's behind this shit? It's because on the surface, it looks like, oh yeah, it's just us killing each other. But what if there's something else behind that? What if there's another force that's causing these people to do that? You understand? What if, like, I think Young Dolph did a lot of stuff for the community.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So why another brother that's trying to do shit for the community, he's gone. You know, I'm wondering, is there something behind